at some point you studied with Odd Nerdrum also.
Yeah. There was.
So how was that? Simultaneous contrast.
Yeah. So what I did is that I did my 3 years in Florence. So I went through the whole program, and then I graduated in the. Let's see. I think it was Christmas 2001. That's when I was done with my training. I went back to Sweden, and I looked at my work and said, "Okay, I'm finally good enough to contact Odd Nerdrum." So I put together, in those days, you couldn't send images so easily by email. So I just had basically some photos taken of my work. So it'd be like portraits and figures and maybe some landscapes. And I put them together in a letter where I just explained to Odd, like, I've been following your work for years, and I've been to the Florence Academy, really admire your work, and it would be really good to, if I could come and study with you. And I sent it off. Super scared, obviously, because my worst fear was that a letter would come back, saying, "No, I'm sorry, there's no hope for you." So I was sitting there. So I was definitely. It was like a man waiting for his death sentence. I was sitting at home, being super afraid, super scared. And I don't think that was intentional. Maybe it was. I think it was just by sort of. Because, like when you're running a school like here, there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's easy for some certain things to just, we forgot about that.
Yeah.
So if I would have had to wait for like a month or something, I think I would have, I've been climbing the walls or something in my apartment. But I actually got an answer back 2 days later. So I sent it in, let's say I sent it in on a Tuesday, and I got a letter back, I think on Thursday or Friday.
Wow.
Saying, and it was from Tuve. It said like, yeah, Odd likes your work. You can come over for Easter. And that's when the first time I came over here was Easter 2002.
Right.
So yeah, I was lucky. I just had to wait. Was it 2 or 3 days?
Really?
Yeah.
So okay. How then was coming from the Florence Academy to Odd Nerdrum studio, seeing the way of working? What was the?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it was an amazing experience to finally, meet this person who had inspired me to really go through all of this training, and his very, what do you call it, like compelling imagery, that had been going on in my mind for a long time. So coming here was obviously super inspiring. But what I'm glad about was that because the way that Odd works, I mean, obviously with his experience and his talent, he has really no restrictions in terms of technique.
Right.
I mean, I think he can start the painting in a way that to someone that has limited experience, it would make no sense whatsoever. Like, why does he start? Like, I remember, I can give you a good example. He started it was the first painting I saw when Odd painted. It was a blank canvas. It was just the imprimatura, the gray surface. Yeah. And then he was going to paint this woman who was she had a bow on her back, so it was almost like a portrait that was in a landscape. And I remember when he started that painting, and it just took he had a big blob of sort of salmon pink on the palette, and he just dipped his fan brush in this. And then he just painted a big pink egg on the canvas. That was the very first thing. And then he stabbed the fan brush in pure black, and then he just did 2 dots like for the eyes. And I was looking around like, is this the candid camera? I was like, because it looked so bizarre. It's just this pink egg with 2 dots. I was like, what the hell is going on here? And then he kept working on it, and you know how he works.
Priceless.
Yeah, and he's just sort of, he's working away and he's talking at the same time. And I was sitting there, and this was after 3 years of Florence Academy, so I knew some stuff.
It wasn't side size.
No, it wasn't side size either. And I was sitting there watching, and then after like 20 minutes, I was like, I think I have better starts than that, So I was like, oh. So I was almost getting a little bit cocky, right? And then he kept working away, and he was talking at the same time. And then after like an hour and a half or something, that was, there was a break or something. And by then I was almost crying because all of a sudden he had taken this pink egg and it just developed this into this amazing, amazing form, amazing drawing, amazing color. Like everything was just there. And the thing was, I couldn't see how it happened. It was just, you look at it and it doesn't make sense. And all of a sudden there's one brush stroke and it's like, oh my God, it's there.
So in some way you could say that it's almost the opposite approach than in the Florence Academy, in the sense that it doesn't secure the form.
Yeah,
he develops the form as he goes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the benefit of having the training with the Florence Academy, because otherwise I would have been super confused, like seeing that. Right. Because I understood looking at it, okay, so he's doing everything at the same time.
Right.
He's drawing and he's thinking about the color and the atmosphere and the form and the shapes and the edges, everything at the same time. Yeah. So it wasn't broken up in very clear steps like Florence Academy would do.
But this is great. I mean, this is exactly what you set out to do. You have to be good enough first to be able to study with him, so that you are able to understand what he's doing.
Yeah. Because I think if I would have come to Odd before I went to Florence Academy, I think I would have been very confused, because when you're on that level of painting, you don't have to follow any rules. and for a young person, I think for young people, it's more important, like, you need to understand the rules,